This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. Get the hell out of your seat. And what I mean by that is if you were sitting there right now in an office cube, some dead-end job, dead-end existence, I have a plan for you. I'm not trying to be all that or that I've got all the ideas or how everything works, but if you're sitting there right now in a dead end, especially if you're in North America or Western Europe, get on a plane. First stop, Tokyo. Second stop, either Singapore, Bangkok, or Saigon. Do not have a plan. Simply go. Again, if you're in a dead-end existence, and you might be rich as shit in a dead-end existence, but if you feel like you need something else, you need a shot of adrenaline, a swift kick in the ass, something to make the blood boil, book the flight from North America. Fly Japanese carrier ANA. From Tokyo, you can fly to Saigon on ANA, Singapore, Bangkok. I don't care. Just go. Go to those locations. Go alone. Do not go with anyone. Go absolutely alone with no plan. I mean, you might want to know where you're going to stay, but who really cares? You can figure that out when you get there. These are all civilized places. There's plenty of places to stay. You don't need to figure that all out. You don't need a toothbrush. They're going to have a toothbrush everywhere. They're going to have food everywhere. You will get by. But what these locations will give you, again, and I say this as a Western male going east, they will give you an influx of adrenaline, an influx of new, a way to break out of the current hypnosis that you are probably inside North America and Western Europe. Because it is a hypnosis. It's an unreality. We have just witnessed one of the biggest political upsets ever in the history of the United States of America. Now, it didn't really surprise me. Anybody that's followed this podcast or followed my Facebook writing for the last year knows that I had the feeling. Not because I have a crystal ball or some great predictive powers, but you just knew that perhaps with social media as a pull, that something was unfolding differently this time. Now, who the hell knows what's going to happen with inside this administration? But just as a reminder, a really quick reminder, I want to play this clip. What just happened, even though I say that I sort of had the feeling for it, a hell of a lot of people had zero feeling for it.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Is that people think that Donald Trump is a clown.
Donald Trump is a clown.
I mean, does anybody seriously think that Donald Trump is serious about running for president?
Donald Trump, you know, he's a clown.
The likely moderator apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones right now, Donald Trump.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
So basically, this is the beginning of the end for Trump.
The beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end?
This is probably starting of the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
The strongest person usually isn't the loudest one in the room.
So right now we have Hillary's about a 75 or an 80% favorite. We have different versions of the forecast you can look at.
The poll has Hillary Clinton up by double digits nationally, 12 points, 50-38, four-way race.
Clinton leading in Florida, Clinton leading in North Carolina, Clinton leading in Ohio, Clinton leading in Nevada. I could go on and on and on.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
We have a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. And CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Huge win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we project, will win in Kentucky, in Indiana, with its 11 electoral votes. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, North Dakota, with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business.
A lot of people have laughed at me over the years. Now they're not laughing so much, I'll tell you.
He's right. Not many people laughing now. Because when you're the president of the United States, regardless, you have the power. Now, many of those critics in that clip that I just played think that Trump will use that power that he has in a Hitler-like way. They truly believe, and I see this on Facebook, I see this in social media, good people, at least I like to think of them as good people, are certifiably scared that Trump is the next Hitler. Now, never mind that America has a 3 branches of government system that doesn't exactly allow for a dictator to take over. Never mind that the logic of this is false out of the gate, out of the door. Now, if you don't understand what the legislature, the court system, and the executive branch are in the United States of America, well, you very well can't have much of a conversation on this, and it might be time to go back to school. But let me play along for a moment and just say, okay, I get that there's this fear that Donald Trump, the next president of the United States of America, will be the next Hitler. Let me counter that with an excerpt from a book called Follow Me and Die: The Destruction of an American Division in World War II by Cecil Curry. I want to read an excerpt. Baraloo spoke with First Lieutenant Eldon Kaufman, commander of Fox Company. They discussed their men's deteriorating morale, shell shock, and mounting casualties caused by combat exhaustion. Kaufman told Baraloo how his men pulled back from exposed foxholes during methodical German barrages. Once they left a dangerous gap for several hours between F and G company positions. His men, reported Kaufman, could no longer endure such poundings. They were, he said, just too nerve-shattered, tired, and many were crying. Kaufman and Baraloo decided to inform their battalion commander of the sorry state on the nose of the Vosnik Ridge. They reported to 2nd Battalion Command Post and were shocked to see that their commander, Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Hatsfield, appeared to be in a state of stupor. Lethargic and non-responsive, he ignored their presence and sat, head down, staring into space. Captain John Pruden spoke with Kaufman and Baraloo, explaining that the colonel was distraught because of his battalion's terrible casualty losses. Their soldiers, the 2 lieutenants agreed, could not take any more. They've gone through hell. Pruden was sympathetic. Those at the command post were also exposed to unremitting enemy artillery. But what could he do? No troops were available to relieve men of 2nd Battalion, allowing them even a brief respite from tension and combat terrors. They were under orders to hold their ground at all cost, even if it did seem that division and regiment had abandoned them. All of them, from battalion staff officers to riflemen in exposed foxholes, had to endure and hope for the best. It was not a very good solution. Again, that was an excerpt from a book called Follow Me and Die. One of the men that was just quoted in that book was my grandfather, John Pruden. Now let me get serious for a moment. For the last several months, in my adult lifetime, I've had to listen to nonstop insanity in the United States of America that a new Nazi party was forming that would then soon take over the country, and that there should be massive fear. Well, there is massive fear. But ladies and gentlemen, what I just read to you was real. Those were real men dying in World War II in Germany fighting Nazis. We are in 2016. There are no Nazis in America to speak of. 200 dipshits in a hotel room yelling Heil Hitler is ridiculous. Patently absurd. It makes me sad that the United States of America, founded on such great principles, may have permanently devolved into something else. Because if the insanity that unfolded in 2016 during the presidential election, if that can happen once, it's going to get raised up, up, up on the volume scale. Now, you must really think to yourself, if you truly believe that America has an impending Nazi problem, and I just read you an excerpt where my grandfather was actually fighting Nazis, watching his guys die and watching Nazis die. That's real blood and bullets, not the fake nonsense put out on the likes of a CNN by some hot-to-trot reporter geared up in all kinds of makeup with an earbud in her ear telling her what to say. Is that sexist? No, it's not sexist. It's absolutely ridiculous is what it is. Everyone should be ashamed of the current situation. Now, that's my moral perspective. That's my ethical perspective. But we also all know what happened after Trump got elected in the markets. Because if you were betting the markets would tank after Trump got elected, you got punished. You lost. Now, I'm not trying to justify Trump's win and correlate that with market advances. Hell no, I'm not that stupid. I've been at this for a long time. The point is, all of those people played in that original clip saying the world was going to end or this guy's a clown, never going to happen. Now the smartest men in the world, the fund managers out there, have said, we believe in the markets. We believe in these trends, and we are going to follow them, and we're going to push them. Now, you know damn well the markets could go south big time by the time Trump puts his hand up and swears the oath. Who the president is not what you bet on. You bet on the price action. If you want to live, if you want to make money, if you want to survive, that's what you do. If you want to believe that Nazis are behind every tree and you want to deny all historical references that happen to be real, like, for example, the excerpt that I just read with my grandfather right in the middle of foxholes watching his guys die, it's a choice. It is an absolute choice. You can either accept the reality of the market price, which is backed by money. That's the best judge of how people really believe. Where is their money? What is their money doing? Not what are their lips doing. Their lips could be flapping while all of their money is going straight into the market. But to break through and have the ability to discern right from wrong, real and not real? You need a strategy. You need a philosophy. You need something that can ground you. Because if you're sitting there right now and you are waiting for the next CNN headline to gear you up and give you a cortisol shot to get the stress hormones flowing so you can't think straight, you're going to fail. You're absolutely going to fail. You're going to fail yourself. You're going to fail your family. You're going to fail your friends. That's the way it goes. This trend following world of mine has some great legendary players. One of the ones that I've written about in my books and talked about on this podcast, and I talk about him quite a bit because he is prolific and he puts the strong views out there, is David Harding. Quoting from the Financial Times out recently, in his 1994 paper, Harding wrote that the methods which conventional banks and brokers make their money from trading have all the intellectual purity of selling vegetables, a phrase he has used time and time again over the years. As well as taking client fees, these methods consist, essentially, of selling complex derivatives at marked up prices. It's all an arbitrage. Harding has a different approach, the trend following approach. He exploits the failures in efficient market theory, the idea that markets are always rational, that they perfectly reflect all knowable information and always produce, in some sense, the right price. This theory still has a grip on Western economic thinking, as Harding notes, despite much evidence that it's wrong. It treats economics like a physical science, when in fact it is a human or social science. Humans are prone to unpredictable behavior, to overreaction, or slumbering inaction, to mania and panic. End quote from David Harding. Exactly what we just saw in the United States election. I'm really not trying to be a homer alone for Trump and to try and tell you I told you so or anything like that. I'm simply pointing out that the histrionics, the hysterical, over-the-top stuff, you want to know why we have booms and busts? If people, supposedly smart people, think there are Nazis behind every tree, well, that's fertile ground for the next boom or the next bubble or the next bursting. Humans ain't rational. Never will be. Irrationality wins. Some fantastic writing over the course of the U.S. election cycle by Scott Adams, the creator of the Dilbert comic strip. He points out that one of the main reasons Trump won, his persuasive abilities. People really weren't looking to Trump for issues and policies. They've heard enough bullshit from politicians over the years. That wasn't the point. What they wanted was something they could believe in. Rational or irrational? Take your pick. But on all of these issues, on all of human action, it's typically irrational. We ain't the rational man. Back to the article in Financial Times. The Winton investment system, Winton being Winton Capital, David Harding's firm, the Winton investment system is based instead on the belief that scientific methods provide a good means of extracting meaning from noisy market data. Harding goes on to say, we don't make assumptions about how markets should work. Rather, we use advanced statistical techniques to seek patterns in huge data sets and base all of our investment strategies on the analysis of empirical evidence. We conduct our research in the manner of a science experiment. That means collecting and organizing data, making observations, and developing hypotheses, and then testing these hypotheses against empirical evidence. So you see what you got to do here. You've got your politics, you've got your economics, and there's going to be differences of opinion. I understand why some people will love Trump. I understand why some people will hate Trump. I don't understand how people believe there's Nazis hiding behind every tree. Those people are just batshit crazy and should be in a sanitarium strapped to a chair with a feeding tube in their mouth, perhaps just a ball gag in their mouth, perhaps an ice pick to the eyeball would secure those people in a more happy place. But Harding is dead on right. If one wants to get ahead in this world, you need to have an analysis of empirical data, something that's real. Look at the nonsense during the election with Nate Silver, the stats polling data guy. He got everything wrong, not surprising. He's got a black box and he wants to predict everything. That doesn't work. It never works. What you want is something that is real. And in the trend following world, I am the broken record to say that it's price action. It's price data. You can't fake that. There can't be any fake news on the traded price. That's what you make your decisions on. And if you got the political opinions and you have the economic opinions and you want to talk about why the market just moved, you could take all that mental masturbation and you could put it into a blender and you could twist yourself in knots and run in circles and do that stuff all day long. But please don't bet your money on that. Bet your money on the trend. Bet your money on the price. Do that. And you've got a chance to get rich.
I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.